check out these incredible revamps of the original Brain Attack Hero Factory villains, because boy do these look really sick. In this video we're going to take a closer look at what pieces have been used, some of the cool building techniques, and we'll also just take a closer look at these epic builds. Let's go. So these Brain Attack villain revamps were built by the very talented builder known as IGU. Now it's a real delight to see all of these different Brain Attack wave villains reimagined like this. Yeah, anytime you can take a classic set and turn it into a titan, just deck them out with all sorts of cool new weapons or interesting new aesthetics, well, you're gonna end up with something awesome. So IGU has given each of these characters the title of General, so like General Pyrox or General Bruiser, and I do love the mental image of an army of these Brain Attack villains, you know, as they looked when their sets released, but leading that army is one of these generals, a taller, more powerful version of his subordinates. I don't know, I just think that's so sick. So yeah, I'm all for bigger, better, stronger looking revamps like this. It always looks cool. So yeah, sure, they all look great, but let's take a closer look at each one and marvel at the details and the designs that have been poured into each of these builds. So let's start off with General Ogrim. Now the original set had a cool ogre aesthetic with some vines growing out of the body, and I love that IGU has continued that idea but turned it up to 11. Now he's got this cool like vine crown, and one of the main pieces that have been used here are these Vastus shoulder armor pieces in lime. Of course, these appeared on the Glatorian set Vastus, and guess what? They were on his shoulders, you would never believe it. But combining these with some of these lime animal tail pieces, well, it makes for a brilliant looking plant crown design, and it certainly continues that plant life look. Now, some more of Vastus's pieces have been used on the shoulders. This time it's Vastus's dark green mask. And these work very well for providing some solid, bulky looking shoulder armor, but it's also a great way to continue that lovely overgrown design. And then we've got even more, some Gresh weapons here being used on the arms. And then once again, we see some of these cool lime animal tails, and they're making this funky vine arm weapon. And on top of that, we got some of these cool invasion from below egg pod pieces. And they've been used in a few different areas and merged with some other armor plating as well. It all looks great. It's lovely to see how many different pieces, when used together like this, can flawlessly convey this plant theme aesthetic. There really is a lot of jungle, vine, or plant themed Lego Bionicle pieces. It's nice to see them all in this one mock here and realize there's a lot you can play with if you're going with that aesthetic. The torso is also using the Brain Attack slug that came on the wonderful set Dragon Bolt. But in this context, the colors of that piece start to look a lot more plant-like. It's such a nice way to integrate what is literally just a big brain slug, but suddenly now it looks like it's a plant. Genius. Ogrim's never looked better. Scarox is up next, and here he is next to his original set. He used to be a lot more skinny to reflect that bug, spider-like look that LEGO was going for when they were designing this set. But now, IGU has buffed him up and made him look even more like a war general. It's a very different take for sure, but I think it's still a really, really cool idea. Now, how good is all of this new waist detailing? Using white spiderweb pieces to tie in elements of that spider-like mask, but also using it as some cool waist armor. That's so sleek and so sick. Plus, there's also this great golden skull spider mask on the center of the waist there. The textures on it, they pair up very nicely with some of the other CCBS armor pieces here, but also the nice facial details on this mask. They fit right at home with this sinister and creepy looking dude. It's like they've carved a skull pattern onto their armor down there. I love that. Plus, he's got this cool looking axe and a very stylish looking shield. There's two brilliant weapons. And I guess if you really want, this abdomen could also count as a weapon because it is just a big old battle axe. But I think that's such a clever and fun way to tie in the spider vibes just that little bit more. Really cool. Now over to General Bruiser. I've always been a fan of a rock golem aesthetic, and Bruiser's original set was exactly that. You know, he had all sorts of great rock-themed armor pieces and elements. It was great. And it's nice to see that continued again on this revamp. But now he's also got a lot of cool gunmetal armor added into the mix. Something else that's been introduced is IGU has added some of these bone claw pieces in white, and they give off this interesting like Wolverine style weapon. Now I love the idea that these could be a new weapon that they've adopted, as simple as that. Or, since this is a rock golem, maybe he found some fossils or some old skeletons in some rocks, and he's just converted them into this interesting weapon. I do love it when builders find ways of tying the weapon design back into the character, or just at least the aesthetic that they're going for. To me, it makes it just way more interesting and way more fun. Also, look how posable this mock is. You know, it's one thing to build a really solid, awesome looking revamp, but if it can also pose very well, even better. And finally, we got General Pyrox. And man, these big bulky shoulders, this huge imposing weapon, both of them for that matter, and this massive cape. This dude has presence. And like any good villain, they also take up space. They demand your attention, and they certainly have power. And mate, this revamp has all of those qualities. Now, I believe this huge cape comes from the classic LEGO Star Wars Technic Darth Vader set. I might be wrong. It can be sometimes a little hard to tell what set a cape comes in, or if it's just custom made. But to my knowledge, this cape is the biggest cloth piece that's come in any LEGO set ever made. So yeah, all signs point to it being that one. But hey, if Darth Vader can rock a cape like this, then Pyrox can as well. Now, the head design here looks pretty similar to how it did in his original version, other than the color change of the brain slug, but I actually quite like it in orange here, it works very well. But there is one key difference. It's the inclusion of some of these Malum claw pieces that came on one of my favorite Glatorian sets, Malum. Yeah, you partner those claws with that orange brain slug. Wow, doesn't it look just awesome? Now he's wearing some type of crown made of fire and flames. Or maybe this brain slug just has a little bit more like additional spikes on its body that are sticking out. Either way, whatever it is the perfect color match, and it is just such a wonderful addition that does a lot for this head design. It's also a great idea to keep some of these dark red rock spike pieces that appeared on the original set and keeping them up here on the shoulder design. But when you combine them with a couple more Pyrox masks on the shoulders, how good does that look? It makes him look like he's like fresh out of Kiss with those big spiky shoulder pads like this. And honestly, Pyrox's mask also kind of gives off some Kiss vibes. Huh. That's a surprisingly good fit, isn't it? Still, yeah, this whole torso design is brilliant. You know, even the fact that they've used an Onward G2 mask down here for some crotch armor, and you combine that with some black tubing and the other CCBS pieces, it all looks just brilliant. So yeah, man, that's 4 revamps of some brilliant brain attack villains. I hope you enjoyed taking a closer look at all of these wonderful revamps. And hey, be sure to check out IGU. I'll have some links in the description below so you can see more of his phenomenal work. The dude builds a lot of really good stuff, so he's worth checking out. And while you're at it, you may as well give him a like and give him a follow too. He's a good builder. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Happy HF Feb. Don't forget to build some heroes or build some villains. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.